So Jake Paul and his team continue to surprise me and actually show that they know what they're doing, man. They know what they're doing with the career of Jake Paul. And it seems as though they are very serious in trying to develop him into be possibly a world champion. I know it's far-fetched from now. And, even I have said, I doubt he has the skills that he can get there. It'll take a very, very long time for him to develop those skills. At the bare minimum, they definitely see some potential in Jake Paul. I know you might be asking me, yo, why are you saying that? Well, Jake Paul will be training with the Team USA boxing team, and of course, going with them to the Paris 2024 Olympics. He will not be competing. It just says he will be accompanying them, but he will get training with them. And I think this is such a smart idea. This is definitely a good ploy for him to get his name out there a little bit more, and also a good idea for some good sparring. And this is the type of game where you gotta kind of let your pride at the door. You gotta leave it there, because at the end of the day, to develop and get better, you need to spar guys that are better than you. You have to get beat up in sparring. It sucks, but that's just the name of the game. That's just how it goes. That's how you get better as fast as possible. And with Jake Paul's last opponent being Andre August, he can't constantly fight these guys that are so much smaller than him. Let's all be real. Andre August probably had to gain weight to fight Jake Paul. The level of competition is just going to constantly grow up, and Jake Paul is going to have to fight a guy eventually his size that's cutting down to that weight, or even a guy that may be bigger than him. And this is where amateur boxing is really good for this type of style. As we've seen from Jake Paul's fight, he was very, very light on his feet, almost similar to KSI's little karate style. Almost very, very similar. And this is where you see that he is very different from his previous fights. In his previous fights, he was very flat-footed. He wasn't as bouncy. Whereas now, you see he is trying to be very, very light on his feet, which is very resemblant of that amateur boxing style. Amateur boxers very often are very light on their feet, very fast, in and out, throw out combinations. Amateur boxing isn't really about defense, right? They're not really known for their defense. Of course, there are, like, for example, the Lomachenkos out there who were excellent at both, which is why he had so much success. But amateur boxing is mostly offensive based. You get in, throw your flurries of combinations, and you get out. And then you do the same, rinse and repeat. The object of the game is to outscore your opponent, and that's how you can pull out the wins. Whereas professional boxing is a little bit different, and amateurs, they don't really score your defense. But in professional boxing, your defense and your ring generalship definitely do matter a lot more. And here's where people get it mixed up with ring generalship. Ring generalship isn't just somebody constantly moving forward. You can move back and circle and still be winning on ring generalship. As long as your defense is on point, you're making the guy miss, and you're making him look silly, you're still winning on ring generalship. So Jake Paul training with these type of guys who are going to be very loud on their feet, let out a lot of combinations. It's a different style that he's not going to be used to. The only guy that really posed him problems was Tommy Fury, a very big volume puncher. But the thing is, that what Tommy didn't have was that he was very light on his feet and constantly moving around. Tommy Fury's pretty flat-footed in there. Yes, he throws a lot of combinations and a good amount of volume, but he's fairly flat-footed. So to give Jake a really good challenge, you have him train and spar with guys who have both, who can move their feet, who have really nice footwork and the combinations to go along with it. I think this is such a smart move from Jake Paul's team, and it will just make him better. Like I said before, the competition is only going to get better, and he's eventually going to run into a guy that's his size, that is light on his feet, and more athletic than he is. So he's going to have to be ready. So sparring these type of guys is the type of situation which will get him ready. I think it's not only a smart marketing strategy, but also very smart for Jake Paul's development. I think some people are getting it misconstrued and seeing this and being like, whoa, Jake Paul's going to fight in the Olympics. No, that is not the case. He's just training with these guys and then going to accompany them when they go off to Paris for the 2024 Olympic Games. But if you're a fan of Jake Paul, this is something that's a big stepping stone for his development. And to be honest, when the competition kicks up a little bit more, I'm interested to see how well he is going to look and how his adjustments are going to look. That's going to be all I got for y'all today. As always, I thank you all so much for your support, and I'll catch you in the next video.